Yes, I can.
Yeah, reproduction. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so yesterday we discussed a little bit of plant reproduction, right? But you understood the gist of
Yes,
reproduction.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we also discussed lower organisms reproduction and also vegetative propagation, etc. So all that part is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, in today, let's discuss and focus a little bit more on animal, specifically human reproduction. In animal kingdom, also reproduction is very, very diverse. Okay, you know that there are two kinds of um, organisms, if I say egg-laying organisms, animals, and the animals that give birth to the babies. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So, what do we call the? Do you know the name for these organisms who lay
Mam
eggs?
yeah, mammals and reptiles.
Mammals and reptiles. What do mammals and reptiles? So, do all mammals? What do? They lay eggs or they give birth?
Most of them give birth.
Yeah, almost all
Yeah.
mammals give birth,
Okay, all of them, yeah.
except for one. Do you know what is the exception of a mammal that lay eggs?
I bet it's a platypus.
It's duck-billed platypus. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, duck-billed platypus lay eggs. And why are mammals called mammals, Alan?
Why?
Where does this name come from? Like when I say why, like what is the origin of mammal name?
That I have no idea.
So the word mammal comes from mammary glands. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So all mammals have mammary glands. That is the
Yes, sir.
that is a indistinguishable feature. That is a characteristic feature of being a mammal. Okay. If even duck-billed platypus have mammary glands, even if they lay eggs. So what is indispensable to be a
Yes, sir.
mammal
Mammals, yeah.
is mammary glands. Now it makes sense that if an organism have mammary glands, then they will give birth to the babies because they can feed the babies outside, right?
Yes, sir.
So organisms that lay eggs do not have mammary glands, so they cannot feed the baby outside. And after after they have developed, they need continuous nutrition. So in egg, there is a concept of yolk. You know what is yolk?
Sorry, sir. Concept, though?
Yolk. If
No.
you eat egg, you know that there's a yolk in the egg, right? The yellow part.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is that? Any idea?
No, not exactly.
No. So yolk is the nutrition that is put in the egg, where the embryos, as it keeps developing, it keeps deriving nutrition from the yolk. Right? That's why the egg has to be like a protected shell. So the organisms that give birth to the offsprings, like mammals, are called viviparous. Okay. And the organisms that lay eggs are called oviparous.
Yes, sir.
The word oviparous has an egg in the beginning, right? Oh, this is how you can remember. So they are egg laying. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And viviparous are birth giving. Now, this is first concept. The another concept is of heterogametic and homogametic. Do you know this concept? Do you know what is a heterogametic and what is homogametic?
So heterogametic is when there are different types of gametes, and homogametic is when there are similar types of gametes.
So types means from two different sexes.
Sexes.
Okay. Yeah. So if the male and the female sex in a species produce similar looking, of course, at the genetic level, they will be different. Otherwise, it makes no sense to make two different gametes, right? So genetically, both the gametes which are coming from father and mother will be different. That's why sexual reproduction is happening. And that's where the variation is coming from, right? After recombination. But at the morphological level, when you look at the gamete, if the two gametes look similar, So that kind of a organism is called homogametic organism, that both the sexes, both the genders produce similar looking gametes. So just by looking under the microscope, you cannot tell which is the male gamete, which is the female gamete. But in humans, we are heterogametic. You can tell under the microscope which is a sperm and which is a ovum. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And apart from being heterogametic, we discussed it last time. There's a concept of microgamete and a macrogamete in humans. So which one is microgamete?
The male gamete is micro, and
Yes.
female is macro. I mean mega.
Mega or macro, but both terms can be used because female gametes are bigger. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. If I ask you a question, what is the biggest single cell possible in a human body? What will you say?
So the spine cell.
No, it is the longest because neurons
Oh.
come from the spine to the tip of your finger. That is the longest cell. But the cell body is very small, you know. It is just the axon that goes very long, like a fiber. Biggest is ovum.
Okay.
Nothing can be bigger than ovum in a human's lifespan. You know why? Think about it. So ovum, when it gets fertilized, it stays the same size and forms a zygote. And after the fertilization, first few divisions are reductive. You know what do I mean by reductive division? So let's say this is a ovum and that's a sperm. Not to scale though, but let's say this sperm fertilized the ovum. After fertilization, now there will be two nucleus that will fuse, sperm nucleus and ovum nucleus, and will become one nucleus. After that, there will be division like this: 2 cells, 4, 8, 16, 32, and so on. So the overall size will remain the same as of the ovum. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And after that, the embryo starts developing. When it starts developing, all the cells by that time are very tiny as compared to ovum, right? So the next time a human will form such a big cell is in the female body, when the female will form ovum again. So ovum is the biggest cell in the human development. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The same concept applies for other organisms. So what is the largest single cell in the nature?
Yes, an ovum, right?
In nature.
By nature, okay.
Then you have to say whose ovum.
Okay. In nature, like I don't understand what do you mean.
So I mean, which is the largest single cell? Why are we discussing it? Is because we discussed egg. What is an egg? Tell me. Do you think when an egg is formed, what is an egg? How many cells do an egg have?
A single cell.
Exactly. An egg is a single cell when it is formed, right? Unless and until the baby comes out of it, it is a single cell, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
When the bird lays it lays a single cell upon fertilization. So the largest cell, single cell in nature is the egg of ostrich.
Okay, and I got no stretch, yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So now comes vivipary, hetero, and homogamety is all clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Now comes the concept of lifespan and life cycle. Do you know what is a lifespan and what is a life cycle?
So lifespan is an average expected life expectancy of a person, and life cycle would be.
That is average lifespan, what you said. If you use the word average, it is the average lifespan. Lifespan is the maximum expectancy.
Okay, maximum, okay.
Okay, the maximum the person or the species can live.
Then life cycle would be the development stages of a person.
You are correct, but would you like to elaborate a little? Like what development stages means?
Like from an zygote to an embryo to a child to an a teenager and an adult and so on.
So don't you think life cycle is same as lifespan only then? If you're saying that teenager, then adult, then old, and then die. So what is
the years between like two consecutive divisions.
So how will you decide when because these are numbers which we have decided that after 13 we will call it a teenager, but biologically what is the difference between a 12 and a 13? Biologically puberty comes at 11, 12 only, right? Puberty hits before teenage biologically.
Yes, sir.
In girls puberty
Yes,
hit
sir.
even earlier at 10, 11, 9 even. So these are we decide. So how will you decide who's an adult and who's a old? Who's a old? Is a 30-year person old? No. You will say no, right? 40?
I'm not sure the life cycle part.
So these are arbitrary terms. So life cycle, if you say it's a span between two stages, how will be the stages be decided then? So lifespan, you are clear, like lifespan is from birth to death, simple, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Organism is born, organism is dead. So it has a beginning, it has an end. Life cycle is the period from birth till sexual maturity. Okay. When it gives birth to the new offsprings, new generation. That is life cycle. So when I say, let's take an example of a housefly. You know housefly?
Yes, sir.
Houseflies or fruit flies, you know, Drosophila. In science we study food.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So Drosophila's lifespan can be 3 months, 4 months in the wild, something around that. Okay. So they can live for 90 days, let's say. But their life cycle is 10 days. So right after the egg is laid, they hatch out and become larva. They stay in the larva for first 3 days. Then they become pupa. They stay in the pupa for around 4 to 5 days. So around 8th, 9th day, 9th to 10th day, they come out of the pupa as a fly. And when they come out after that, coming out around half a day later, like around 12 hours later, they can lay eggs again. So from the time of birth till the time when they can lay eggs again and give rise to the new generation, which means they are sexually mature, that's called life cycle. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So Memuna has also joined. Hello, Memuna, how are you?
Hello, sir. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. So we are revising and building concepts of reproduction, okay, in humans in today's class. Okay, and also to inform you, Memuna, we will be having these concept building classes at the same time from next weekend at the same schedule, okay, where some other batches will be merged with your batch and just going through concepts and previous year's questions, okay, for your boards and entrance.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any doubt in particular?
No, sir. Today I had my bio pre-board.
Okay, how did it go?
Yeah, it went off well.
Well, are you satisfied with your performance? Anything you want to discuss from your pre-boards question paper, you are welcome to do that.
No, sir. I don't really have such doubts from the question paper.
Which means you attempted everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. You should always attempt everything. Okay. And even when it comes, your grades comes and you realize that you have made some or the other mistake, then you can come back and discuss that. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, Arpit.
Good evening, sir.
Thanks for joining in. So you joined a week earlier, but it's okay. From next week, we are going to have the classes at this time only. Okay.
Yes, sir. I didn't share the timings, sir.
Okay, cool. No problem. So in today's class, we are going through human reproduction. Okay. We'll first discuss all your doubts and concepts in today's class. And then we'll, from next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, at the same time, we'll be doing concept builder, where reproduction is the theme for next Saturday as well. Then we'll go to genetics. Arpit, do you have any doubts in particular?
No, sir, this unit is clear.
Okay, cool. So please contribute to the discussion then. And we were talking about lifespan and life cycle before you joined. So the difference between lifespan and life cycle, as I was discussing with Ellen, is that lifespan has a beginning and an end, right? That's why it's a span. But cycle is something that continues. Make sense? So we were taking an example of Drosophila, right, Alan?
Yes, sir.
So the lifespan of Drosophila is around, let's say, 90 days, 3 months, but the life cycle is 10 days. So a Drosophila lays an egg, that egg become larvae. On the 4th day, it will become pupae. It will stay as a pupa for 4 or 5 more days. So around the 9th day, a fly will come out from the pupae and it will take half a day more. So on 10th day, the fly is ready to lay eggs again. So again, the same cycle will continue. So that's called life cycle. What's more important for reproduction chapter is life cycle. Okay, where the organism after birth achieves sexual maturity. Okay, cool. So similarly, there is a concept of puberty in humans where females, so puberty is the stage where sexual maturity is gained. And before puberty, a human cannot reproduce, cannot form gametes. But after puberty, they can form gametes and they can reproduce. So puberty hits females first at around 10 to 12 or 13 years. In some females, it has also been seen before they turn 10 and they are capable of forming gametes. In males, puberty comes a little late, around 13 to 15 years, because there are some other synchronized events that have to be activated in male body to undergo sexual maturity. So this is a broader theme. And when gamete starts forming at puberty, we call it gametogenesis. So gametogenesis, genesis means beginning, start, or synthesis. So gametogenesis starts upon reaching puberty in males. That you have to remember. So in males, the gametogenesis part starts after reaching puberty, but in females, actually gametogenesis starts during embryonic stage itself. After puberty, just the maturation happens. So Arpit, what do I mean by this statement? Can you elaborate a little? That gametogenesis in females can start during embryonic stage itself. What does it mean?
Yes, sir. So yesterday we did it like that. That is starting the fetal stage, but and at the primary site, sir, at the once it gets arrested, and sir, after the birth, when the baby is delivered, so then after the meiosis once, sir, then it completes after the birth. Sir. And the process of formation of the oocyte, sir, it starts.
Yeah. So what Arpit is saying, let me just repeat and elaborate. He's saying that when a female baby or a female fetus is developing inside the mother's womb, and when the ovaries of the female fetus starts to develop, simultaneously then only primary oocytes are formed, which means gametogenesis begins when the baby is itself developing. But they gets arrested at anaphase 1 of meiosis. In the last class, we discussed meiosis. Remember, Alan? 1 and 2?
Yes, sir.
In the last... Sorry? Sorry? Tell me. Sorry.
Sir, I was saying that you told in our class that it gets arrested at prophase 1.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Prophase 1. Anaphase 1. Okay. So, Alan, I was saying that in the last class, we discussed about meiosis and mitosis,
sir.
right? And
Yes,
we
sir.
discussed that meiosis 1 is the reductive division.
Yes, sir.
Meiosis 2 is just like mitosis.
Mitosis, yes.
So here the oocyte arrests in meiosis 1 only when it is developing. So gametogenesis has started but not completed. It only gets completed when the female baby takes birth and reaches puberty. So after puberty, that one one ovum at a time from each ovary will start maturing and releasing out. So if you see a female after attaining puberty in a year, how many, so it secretes alternate every month from each ovary, one ovum. So how many, normally, how many oocytes will be secreted from left and right ovary respectively in a year? There are 12
Can
months.
you repeat this?
Sorry, Arpit? Your voice is little, your voice is not clear, Arpit, like I think last time.
I think you have to repeat the question.
Yes. My question is, in a year, a female ovary, let's pick any ovary, let's say left ovary. How many times or how many oocytes normally a female ovary will secrete in a year?
So 12 to 14 each.
It will just secrete 6.
Oh, okay. Wait, what? Like, okay.
Because in January, if it is the left ovary secreting, in February it will be
Okay.
and March the left, April the right. So there are 12 months, and if everything goes normal, 6 times each ovary will secrete. So that's where 12. We keep it as 12 to 14 because sometimes it's possible that due to
Yes, it could end up.
both the ovaries secreted at the same month, in the same month. Okay. So, but I say that under normal physiology. So it will be 6 from each ovary, 6 to 7, you can say. Okay. Make sense? In a year.
Yes, sir.
So if you calculate, let's calculate. Puberty starts, let's say at 10 in a female, to keep things simple, and ends at 50. So females have a reproductive age which is limited. They undergo reproductive maturity, they also go out of it. So after, that's called, the beginning is called menarche.
And the ending is coming up, pause here.
Yes, and the end is called menopause. Pause means there's a pause. I think meno full stop would not read good. That's why they said menopause. Anyways, so let's say there is a 40 years of reproductive maturity in a female. So in that 40 years, each ovary will secrete how many ovums? Give a range. 6 per year.
For 240.
Okay, 240 to 250, let's say, right?
Yes, sir.
So combined together, both the ovaries in a female's lifetime will secrete how many ovums?
Combined, that's what combined is 240, right? 242, 250.
No, it is from one ovary, no? 6.
Okay, okay. Then combined will
Six,
be 480 to 500.
500, let's say. Let's give 100 extra, let's say 600 at max. A female cannot secrete more than 600 ovums in the lifetime, right?
Yes, sir.
But do you know how many primary oocytes are already present when the baby is born?
1 million.
Millions. My God. You just need 600. You have millions. And how many are left by the time a female reaches puberty?
It was 10,000, I think, right?
80,000
Okay, 80,000. Okay.
per ovary. Yeah. So where out of that 80,000, the female will only use around 250. Very, very inquisitor system, right?
Yes, sir.
So just remember these few things. And on the contrary, spermatogenesis never stops. So a male always stays sexually mature once reaching puberty throughout the life. It can happen so in the old age, the sperm count per ejaculation or the health of the sperm or the quality of the sperm, it all deteriorates. That's true. But the capability of a male human testes to produce sperms never ceases, never stops. But oogenesis stops. Maturation of oocytes stop at around 50 years in females. Give or take 3-4 years up or down. Okay. The range is 45 to 55. every female should reach menopause depending on physiology between 45 to 55. Okay. Cool. So when females become sexually mature, they start releasing oocytes, and that is a cycle. It is not just a simple event. It is a very, very complex hormonal and physiological change that happens in female body since they reach puberty. And it is associated with the uterus lining growing and rupturing and falling apart every month. So that whole cycle in itself is very elaborate, toll taking in terms of energy, blood, tissues, and females many a times are not properly educated. So they often, when when menarche take place, they often are very, very traumatized and very worried, as if like, that something bad happening with them. But it's the start of a natural cycle from there onwards. And that is why it makes more sense in biology that females should stop it at some time, because as they grow old, their body becomes weak. Now imagine an old female body, which is more than 50 years old, 60 years old, still continuing to lose blood and tissues every month. That's not a good sign, right? For the body. Body can't take it. So it has to stop. So it stops, okay? On the other hand, sperm production in males, that is also energy taking, but it is not associated with loss, okay? If there are more than required sperms produced in a male system, two things will happen. One is, during the puberty or the teenage or the adolescent, there's a concept of involuntary ejaculation. So system will just throw it out if not required or not used. The other is, over time, the system learns to degrade it and digest it and reabsorb all the nutrients to make new sperms. So it's like they made sperms that did not get used. So the system itself broke it down, reabsorbed, made new sperms. So less loss is associated. That's why spermatogenesis can continue throughout. Make sense, everyone? Till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with male reproductive system first in today's class. So starting with the male gamete. So who would like to give a brief outlook or the brief anatomy? I should not say anatomy, but the structure of a male gamete, which is spermatocyte. Arpit, how about you? Would you like to start with the male gamete, just the gamete, not the system?
So I have to like explain this whole system.
No, just the male gamete, the sperm, which you can see here. Things that you know about it, because it's a concept building and revision class. You can start with the structures and then talk about it something. Whatever you will miss, I will cover.
Okay. So yes, sir. So like the structure of sperm cell, it comprises of three parts: head, neck, and tail. The head, it consists of acrosome. Sir, it is what is the word? Acrosome, sir, it is a cap-like structure, so, which is present in the head. And so in the head, so there are also male nucleus and the centrioles. And
What does acrosome do, or what does it contain? Any idea?
sir, it contains hydrolytic enzymes, sir, this and
Yes. And what is the function?
sir, sort of acrosome.
Anyone? Memuna, any idea what is the function of acrosome?
The movement of the sperm.
Acrosome. Acrosome is at the head. How is that going to help with the movement? You are right, I think, in a way, but if you elaborate, then I can understand. I think for movement, you can say that more important is tail, right? Don't you think, Mamuna?
Yes.
But you're not completely wrong. So, anyone else? Alan, you can also. Yes, Alan.
So it has this acid in it, which is used for digesting the walls in the ovum, so it helps in fertilizing the ovum.
Perfect. Yeah. So the primary function of acrosome is because it contains hydrolytic enzymes, as Arpit and Alan both correctly pointed out, is to damage and degrade the walls of ovum so that sperm entry can be facilitated. Another function which is slightly associated with movement, but not facilitating movement, but helping the sperm navigate. So there are always chemical cues. So have you ever thought that when we see these videos, animated videos, sperms are moving vigorously towards the ovum, right? You must have seen these videos, right? Where sperm finds the ovum in the female tract.
Yes, sir.
So how do you think sperms know where to go? There's no light inside the human body. They're not looking highways and cues. So there is always a chemical cue. It's called chemotaxic movement. So the head of the sperm, including acrosome, also helps in chemotactic movement of the sperm. So sperm takes some cues. It's not completely random. It takes some cues. If it's a healthy sperm, it can sense where to go actually. To the right, to the left, or to the left, from where the ovum is being released. Okay. Of course, many sperms go towards the wrong side as well, but the head and the acrosome helps in chemotactic navigation of the sperm towards the ovum. Yes, Arpit, continue.
Sir, one more function, it can also like be used to fuse with the eggs. Like it can.
Yeah, that's what Alan was saying. So the fusion means simply attaching first to the membrane of the ovum, then releasing the hydrolytic enzymes to degrade the membrane, because there are many layers of protective covering over the ovum. It has to break all of that, which is called corona radiata, etc., zona pellucida. After that, it reaches the membrane. It also needs to make a hole in the membrane and push itself inside. So acrosome helps in all of that. And you should know that only the head part, which is the cell of the sperm, enters inside the ovum, not the neck and also not the tail. Yeah, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, continue.
Sir, and then comes the neck part. So in the neck region, sir, it is lined up with some mitochondria which provides its energy. And also, sir, like sperm is the only cell which is dependent upon fructose for the energy requirement. And sir, the tail part, sir, it helps to in the movement and the locomotion with the help of its whiplash motion of the tail.
Yeah, whiplash motion is a 3D motion in which a 3D circular motion which propels the sperm to move forward. Anything else anyone would like to add about sperms? Mamuna, Alan? Okay, and the question is, sperm is special because it does not rely on glucose. It relies on fructose for its energy production. So where does this fructose comes from? Where does sperms get the fructose from?
So the bulbourethral glands.
From the bulbourethral. The bulbourethral gland is actually for lubricating.
Okay, okay, then it's one of the glands, so I don't know which one is it exactly.
Yeah, right. It is the seminal vesicles.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Just 1 second. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so it is seminal vesicles, right? Remember that. So they produce fructose, which is a part of the semen in which sperms are present. Okay, cool. Now let's go to first the anatomical structure of a male reproductive system. And anything major? So I'll be asking questions and you people will just answer and elaborate a little if you want to, along little right and left of that. So starting with the primary sexual organ of a male. So what is the primary sexual organ of a male, Mamuna?
Primary what?
Primary sexual organ of the male. Human male, yeah.
The penis.
No, it's not the penis. It's not the it. So there's a confusion. Mostly students get confused. So what is it? Yes, Arpit raised hands.
Sir, testes.
It's testes. And why it is not penis and why it is testes, Arpit?
Sir, like because the penis, sir, they participate in the process of reproduction, but sir, they do not form egg, a gamete, sorry.
Oh yes, I mean like testes also do not form eggs, but so how we yes, Ellen, tell me.
Yes, sir. So the penis is the accessory, no, not the accessory gland, it's an accessory organ. The
Yes,
testis is the one that forms the sperms.
right. So in biology, the primary organs are defined as those organs which produce gametes. Okay. Everything apart from that organ is secondary or accessory in that whole process. So if there are no gametes, there is no reproduction. Even everything else is in place. So sometimes males who are infertile have no problem in their penile tissues, have no problem with the glands, any of the bulbourethral, seminal, everything. Their testes cannot produce sperm. So spermatogenesis process is affected. And then that whole human cannot reproduce. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So it's testes in males. So what it will be in females? The primary reproductive organ?
Ovaries.
Ovaries. Yes. So next question is for Ellen. So about testes, it is known in not just in human, but in other animals as well, that during the breeding season in other animals, for example, in elephants, during the breeding season, and in humans throughout the life, testes are present outside the abdominal cavity in a sac-like structure called scrotum. Why is that? What is the reason for that?
Yes, sir. The sperms are produced in a temperature much lower than the body temperature. So for this, they present this scrotum.
How much lower? You said much lower.
2 to 3 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's not much lower, right? But it has to be lower than the body temperature, right? So how does it helps then? If I
It doesn't degrade the semen.
No, it's not about semen. It's about the process of spermatogenesis. Semen is produced by bulbourethral, which is inside the body. Anyways, sorry, by the seminal vesicle. So you see where is seminal vesicle's position? It is inside the body. In this structure, look at my cursor. Can you see this gland? This is seminal vesicle.
Yes, sir.
It is already inside the body, in the lower abdomen of a male. So that's not the problem. If the problem was with semen, then all these glands would also be outside the body, which is not the case. Just the testis is outside the body. So it is just the production of sperm. Once it is formed, after that also it travels through inside the body, right?
Yes, sir.
That's not the problem again. Okay. So it requires a lower temperature than the body temperature to initiate spermatogenesis. And now my question was, how does placing it outside in the abdominal cavity helps in case of humans? This is the concept builder question.
Yes, so that's the reason, right? So because for spermatogenesis does not occur in the body temperature, so to reduce the body temperature, we place it outside the body in the scrotum.
So we are not reducing body temperature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are reducing the temperature when the sperm is being produced.
And then why can't the same be done when it is inside the body? What my question is, let me ask you in another way. Yesterday we discussed how in many ways the same question can come. Okay. My question is, why do we have testes outside our abdominal cavity, whereas organisms like snakes, frogs,
Okay.
salamanders, they have
Okay,
enzymes?
so we have warm-blooded animals. That's
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So we are warm-blooded organism. Wherever blood goes, that also regulates that the temperature also gets regulated through there. So lots of tissues. So we want to minimize the blood flow and the tissues, right? We want to keep it outside. So it's not like in testes blood does not go. It goes. Testes and the cells also need nutrition. But with no surrounding tissues and organs, it can stay relatively cooler than other organs inside our abdominal body wall. Is it clear, everyone? And since reptiles are cold-blooded, so they don't need their testes outside the body. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm asking these questions which actually are board questions and you will answer. Okay, the another question, next question is for Mamuna. Okay, so Mamuna, the question is, in human males, the urinary system is clubbed with the reproductive system. Explain, like, what does it mean? What does this sentence mean? In other words, the question could be, at one given time, a human male can either micturate or urinate or ejaculate. Why is that? Can you hear me, Mamuna?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you understood the question?
Sir, can you repeat?
Yeah, my question is, two ways I can ask the question. One way is the reproductive tract is merged with urinary tract in human males. Explain. The other could be, at one given time, a human male can either urinate or ejaculate. Why? The answer to both is same. So what do you think should be the answer? Yes, Mamuna, you are mute if you are speaking.
Sir, can you tell?
Yes, so we are discussing. So let me first go to others and see their opinions and answers. So Alan, what do you think? And then I'll go to Arpit.
yes, sir.
What do you think? How will you tackle this question if it comes?
Which one, sir?
Anyone you can tackle. Why, so
What's the question?
So why males, human males, can either ejaculate or urinate at one point of time?
Okay, then it's because if both the semen and the urine follow the same path, which is the ureter, and then they both pass to the testicles. They both pass to the penis as well. So since
Not
they both
not ureter. They don't pass through ureter.
No.
They only pass through urethra.
urethra, okay, then they both have same tube. So since they both have the same tube, they can both what come at the same time.
But why? What is hindering them? What is the problem? Where does this regulation lie? This is the concept. Yes, Arpit.
Yes, sir. So this is due to the reason, like, because, sir, the urine, sir, it is acidic in nature, and whereas
Mhm.
the sperm, sir, it is basic, so it is not possible for the both to happen at the same time, because we studied that it requires alkaline nature, sir, the sperm, and whereas
Perfect. Right. Exactly. So this is the reason. At one point, the urethra, like with Ellen correctly mentioned, and Mamuna, this is my explanation, so pay attention. So the urethra beyond the common point. So this is the common point where the ejaculatory duct meets the urethra. So this is the urinary bladder and this is the seminal vesicle. They both meet here where I have made this mark. Beyond that, it is a common point. Now, either at one point of time, this common tract could be acidic, lined by acidic things which are present in urine, or just before ejaculation, Ellen mentioned about bulbourethral glands. So bulbourethral glands which are present here, can you see that? The most down, they start secreting alkaline substances and lubricate and line the whole whole tract with alkaline environment. So the whole tract becomes alkaline. Now, if you make the whole tract alkaline and at the same time you allow the urine to pass, then that acidic nature of the urine will be neutralizing the alkalinity and all the work done is waste. You understand? Everyone? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
That's why when and urine, we urinate multiple times a day because it's normal physiology, but ejaculation is not that frequent. So that's why whenever there is a urge, which is known as the sexual arousal or the concept of sexual arousal begins in a human male, the urinary sphincters are closed, locked. So you cannot urinate at that point because the bulbourethral gland has invested a lot of energy in making this whole tract, the lining, alkaline to prepare. It's like when some important thing is passing through that road, you close it for the normal traffic which happens on a daily basis, right?
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of energy has been invested in for that path preparation. So that's why it is not possible. Okay. So micturition and ejaculation are both under tight regulations. When there is a urge to ejaculate, micturition cannot happen. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Now, one more question that is important. It comes is why is testes? So this question is for Ellen. Ellen, why is testes called a dual organ? So you know that testes is called a dual organ, right?
So
Sir, my
it's
turn didn't came.
Sorry, Arpit?
Sir, my turn didn't came, sir.
Okay, so let's ask for sorry, I'm sorry. So I think you answered the last question, that's why I went. Okay, so it's for so I have already asked this to Ellen. So let it this for Ellen, and then I'll ask you the next question. This
Okay,
is for
sir.
Ellen. Yes, Ellen. Why is testis called a dual organ?
so it's because it produces both sperm and the
Mhm.
hormones for spermatogenesis.
Perfect. So it acts as a dual organ because it also acts as a primary sexual organ producing gametes, and it also acts as a endocrine gland producing hormones called testosterone. Okay, perfect. Good answer. Okay, so another question is, so Arpit, it's for you then. Question. Which structure is the most important for the maturation of human sperm and how? This came in boards 2019. Yes.
Sir, what- which structures, can you repeat the question?
Which structure in the male reproductive system is the most crucial or most important for the male, for the sperm maturation, and how?
Maturation.
Yes.
So, wait. Yes, sir, the epididymis, sir, because that is the site for the functional maturity. So, where the sperm stays for like 2 weeks and attains the functional maturity.
Perfect. So epididymis. It's not epidymis, it's epididymis. There are two D's, okay? So epididymis is a convoluted tube
So,
kind of.
it's a comma shaped, right? That thing.
It's a comma, yes. It's a comma-shaped organ that sits on the top of testes, each testes, and that is responsible for maturation of sperms. And what kind of maturation? Functional maturation, because the structural maturation has already happened in the testes. But if I take a sperm directly from testes, let's say by any method, I just did a microinjection and took a sperm directly from the testes, that sperm will not be able to perform better, perform the best if I inject it into a female tract, because the functional maturity, which includes the movement, the speed, the viability of the sperm, has not yet been achieved. Okay. Does it make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So let's move a little forward, and I think this thing, we'll do some questions here. Now, what is corpus spongiosum? Anyone? Anyone can? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sir, it is an erectile tissue which is present in the shaft of the penis, and sir, sir, it gets erect when there is a blood flow.
Yes, there's a blood flow. Correct. So corpus spongiosum, and there is one more called corpus cavernosa. Okay. So these tissues are erectile tissues, and they erect upon blood flow, incoming blood flow. That's how the penile erection takes place. And erectile dysfunction is a disorder where these tissues do not respond or do not erect at the blood flow stimulus. Okay, that's called penile erectile dysfunction. Perfect. And what is the site of sperm production? Anyone? It's also an MCQ question.
Seminiferous tubule.
Seminiferous tubules. Okay, good. Okay, now this is the control. So let me go to Ellen. Do you know about how is the how the hormonal regulation of the male reproductive system takes place?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, you explain. If you miss something, then I'll go to Arpit, and if there's something left, then I'll take, or I'll go to Memuna. Yes.
Yes, sir. So then FSH and LH, which is the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone, produced by the anterior pituitary gland and the other gland present in the brain and hypothalamus. So these both
So
are
it is
required.
just produced from anterior pituitary. So
Okay.
hypothalamus.
It sends a signal to the pituitary gland.
Yes, and then pituitary secretes FSH and LH.
Yeah, so these both are required. FSH is required for spermatogenesis, and LH is required for stimulation of testosterone.
Stimulates the production of testosterone. Okay. Anything that you want to add to this, Memuna? Let me first go to Memuna. No, Memuna is not connected to audio, it seems. Yes, Arpit.
So I have to explain.
Yes. Anything you want to add on top of what Ellen put as the foundation?
No, I guess he
Completed, right?
name of the hormones, the hypothalamus GnRH, sir, which it is released by hypothalamus, which signals the pituitary glands to release FSH and LH, and sir,
Yes.
the FSH. Yeah.
So FSH works on spermatogenesis. It initiates spermatogenesis. LH is important for stimulating the testosterone. And what does testosterone do? That Alan missed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, like it maintains spermatogenesis, and it also like sir, this thing contributes to the development of secondary sexual characters.
Yes. So first thing, it as a feedback, it goes back and helps the production of spermatogenesis. So FSH initiates it, but to keep it going, we need testosterone, which is produced by LH. So testosterone keeps it going in a positive feedback manner. And testosterone also leads to secondary sexual characters. And what are these secondary sexual characters in males, Alan?
So deepening of voice, growth of facial hair,
Which are mediated by testosterone specifically.
testosterone, yeah.
Also, metabolism, where you need more protein formation and more muscular development of the male body. That's also important. Okay. So musculature, facial hairs, pubic hairs, deepening of voice, which is because of development of the larynx or the voice box, also known as Adam's apple. All of that. Okay.
Increase in height.
Increase. So shoot up in height is a feature which is present both in males and females. And if you see during the puberty, females' height shoot up faster than males. Males then kind of compensate and keep the pace with females later on in the life, but females' height shoot up faster during the puberty. Okay, so we're not sure if it's just testosterone, because in females testosterone levels are very low during puberty, but they also shoot up in height. Is it clear, Arpit?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, perfect. So these things are done. Yes, gametogenesis. This is the most important, and this can also come as a 4 marker. Explain the process of spermatogenesis. So anyone who would like to take on to this? I think so. Alan missed this class of mine, so I think you are more familiar with this image, Arpit. So would you like to go with this scheme of spermatogenesis?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the spermatogenesis, sir, it is the process which leads to the formation of the gametes, which are the sperms. Sir, so first I would explain the structure, then okay. So
Yes.
The testis, sir, it is surrounded by a protective tissue layer, which is known as the tunica albuginea. Sir, inside each testis, there are separate lobules present, and there are almost 250 testicular lobules. Sir, inside each lobule, there are 1 to 4 seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules, sir, they are the site for the spermatogenesis.
Perfect.
Okay, so here we are the images of the cross section of the seminiferous tubules. Sir, it contains the lumen, sir, the spermatogoniums, and the Sertoli cells, which are also known as the nerve cells.
Lumen is the inner empty structure, which like the empty structure of a pipe. Like inside the pipe, there is a lumen through which water flows. So it has a very thick wall. Everything happens in this wall, and then mature sperms finally will come into the lumen. So Arpit will explain that. Yes.
Okay. So, sir, then there is a primordial germ cell, which are the two ends which are diploid in nature. So the mitosis happens, and which leads to the formation of the spermatogonium. So this spermatogonium undergoes mitosis and leads to the formation of the primary spermatocytes, which are also two end. Then, sir, there is meiosis 1, which leads to the formation of secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid. And then, sir,
so in a way, the first haploid cells in this whole process of spermatogenesis is secondary spermatocyte, right?
Yes, sir.
Before that, everything was diploid, and that is one thing you should always remember. Okay, Alan. So this is a potential question.
Yes, sir.
that which of the following in spermatogenesis is a haploid cell. So primary spermatocyte and secondary spermatocyte both will be an option. So you have to just choose secondary because secondary is haploid, primary is diploid. Yes, continue. Arpit.
So then this secondary spermatocytes, then so they are converted into spermatid, which are the haploid in nature. So then these spermatids, so they are like the round structures. So sir, they are these round spermatids that they go through processes and so they forms a proper sperm structure. So this process is known as the spermiogenesis. And sir,
And what is permeation?
Sir, this permeation, sir, it is the process by which the sir, actually what happens is when they are formed, sir, they are embedded into the walls of cytoplasm. So sir,
Walls of
sir, this cytoplasm.
Sertoli cells. They are
Sorry,
embedded in the Sertoli cells because Sertoli cells are the nurse cells, right?
yes. So sir,
They,
the spermiation is the process of the removal of the sperm from cytoplasm to the Sertoli cells to the lumen of the seminiferous tubule is known as the spermiation.
so that they are finally dislodged. They were docked in the Sertoli cells. So all this time their head was in the Sertoli cells getting nutrition, and the spermatogonium, as you can see here, is towards the outer wall, like somewhere here. And as you go inside towards the lumen, you see the maturation happening. And finally, as it reaches towards the lumen, this mature sperm, which is still embedded inside the Sertoli cell, then it is released and dislodged into the lumen, and then it can flow out from the testes into the epididymis, right? Perfect. Now, would you also like to talk a little bit about Sertoli cells and other kind of cell, what they called?
The Leydig cells.
Leydig cells, yes.
Okay, so sir, Leydig cells, sir, they are the primary source of testosterone and androgen. So like
And
they
where are
got,
they present, Leydig cells?
uh,
Where are Leydig cells present? So Mamuna has joined in. Mamuna has also connected to audio. Mamuna, where are Leydig cells present in male reproductive system? Any idea? I'm sure you must be knowing this. Leydig and Sertoli. These are the two important cells that you should know.
sir, they are should answer.
Yes, continue. They are.
Sir, they are present in the cross section of the seminiferous in the seminiferous tubule.
They are present outside the seminiferous
So in
tubule.
the interstitial
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, perfect, Alan. In the interstitial tissues of the testes. And Sertoli cells are present inside the seminiferous tubule because they are the one that helps in the sperm production. And throughout the process, they help them like a nurse. Okay. And they are randomly scattered everywhere. Okay, that's very good. So very, very, very brilliant explanation, Arpit. Good. Okay, so now I think ducts of testes, these are all factual things you know. Going to some concept. Again, glands, what do the glands do? Okay, so there are three seminal vesicles, prostate and bulbourethral. Just remember these important things that when we talk about accessory glands, seminal vesicle, it produces the viscous fluid containing fructose. So the fructose is coming from seminal vesicles majorly, along with prostaglandins and some proteins. These proteins are very important because they cause slight coagulation. So semen has slight coagulating property. Okay. So that coagulation property of the semen comes from these proteins which are produced from seminal vesicles. So fructose, prostaglandins and proteins in the semen comes from seminal vesicle, which is the most important of all the glands. Prostate gland is just a single gland and it secretes mostly chemicals that make the semen alkaline. Okay, so it provides basicity to the semen. So when it comes to prostate, it is important for basicity, alkalinity, which means and sperm motility. But most of the important things are given by seminal vesicle. Okay, Alan, is that clear? I think you missed the connection in between.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then comes the bulbourethral. So bulbourethral are towards the end. They are the last in line and closest to urethra. So they are located at the base of the penis. They are also known as Copper's gland. Bulbourethral glands are known as Copper's gland. Okay. And the function is to neutralize the acidity in urethra. Okay. Also neutralize the acidity in vagina when the sperms is ejaculated in the female tract, and provides lubrication to the whole to the penis. So it is mostly doing the kind of the most subtle of the functions, not very important for the sperm motility or the semen composition, but to make the way ready, make the path ready. Okay, so they are like the traffic controllers of the convoy of sperms. Okay, and then talking about semen, finally, semen is also known as seminal fluid. It is alkaline. 60% comes just from the seminal vesicles. Rest 35% comes from prostate gland. Still it's 95. So the last of the few 5% is contributed by bulbourethral glands. And if you semen plus spermatozoa is the total composition that enters the female tract. Okay. So any doubts in the male reproductive tract, people? Arpit, Alan,
Yes, sir. What are you saying?
any doubts in the male reproductive tract? We have
No,
finished
sir.
male reproductive tract.
No, sir.
No? Okay, so in the next class that will happen on Saturday at the same time, 6 p.m. KSA, okay, and 9 p.m. 6 or 6:30, like you will get the link, and 9 p.m.
6:30, sir.
6:30 KSA, 9 p.m. IST. We will finish the female reproductive tract, and then we'll go to previous year's questions from the actual NEET question papers. Okay, and also some boards questions. In boards also now you will be having, a subset, a fraction of questions will be MCQs, right? I hope you know that.
Yes.
Right. So we'll prepare for that in the next class. So anything you want to ask in particular? I'll stop here for today. And we still have around 9 minutes left. If you want to discuss, ask something in today's class, we can do that.
No, sir.
No? Okay, so Arpit and Alan. Yes, Arpit, you have a question.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir, after the formation of the sperm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what is the process of the movement? So, like, it goes from some rated testes and that part.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So you know that where are seminiferous tubules? They are here, right? Where
Yes.
I'm drawing. These are seminiferous tubules. This is one big shona. So sperms are produced here. Then they go into this lumen of each seminiferous tubule, and they
Yes.
move out. And first thing they come to is rated testis. Rated testis is like a network of tubes that collects basically. So these are highways that collects from each and every road, each and every seminiferous tubule. And from rated testes, it goes to vasa efferentia. So first is seminiferous tubule, second is rated testis, third is vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia are coiled tubes, small tubes that take the sperm to epididymis. So fourth is epididymis. Inside this epididymis, which is this comma-shaped structure, you can see, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The maturation of sperm happens. It moves through a lot of tubes here and there, and stays around for 2 weeks here, gets properly matured, then enters into this tube, which is called vas deferens. So fifth is vas deferens. And in the vas deferens, it's stored for some time and wait for the ejaculation. If there is no urge of ejaculation, either there will be involuntary release, or the sperms will be degraded in vas deferens and will be reabsorbed back The nutrients will be reabsorbed by the walls of vas deferens, and again new spermatogenesis will begin. And from vas deferens, they go out of the testes and enter into the sperm duct. Is that clear?
Yes, that's clear.
Yep. Anything else? Any other doubt?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll see both of you along with the others on Saturday, where we will complete this and discuss questions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chalo. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you.